Hello every butt stallions and some Jackboy here, bringing you guys the first episode to a brand new series that I'm starting here on my channel for Borderlands 1, the Iridian Weapons Guide. Now, this is a series that I've needed to start for actually quite a while now. It hasn't really been that requested by you guys, but I feel as though I need to do it or else I'm not going to be happy with myself. They're just, I don't know, I need to cover these guns. That's all there is to it. Oh yes, and there is one more thing I do want to mention before we get started here, and that is I'm not going to be covering the Iridian legendaries in this series. I've already covered them before in a one of my legendary guides. I do plan on remastering that guide fairly soon, so do expect that, but you know, I'm not going to be covering those in this series. These are strictly going to be just the green rarity and I think there's one blue rarity Eridian. There might be more, I'm not sure, but it's just strictly going to be those. It's not going to have anything to do with the Iridian legendaries. So for this first episode, I'm going to be covering the cannon. The prefix for mine is 10011 cannon, and it's pretty much a Iridian rocket launcher. Now, for the red text, I'm not going to read all of that, but it translates into OMG, which stands for Oh My God. Now, that means that the Iridian Cannon shoots a large, slow-moving ball of energy that explodes on impact, dealing a non-elemental damage area of effect. Now, really quick, reading under the usage and description section here on the wiki for the Iridian Cannon, it says, because of its slow velocity projectile, the Iridian Cannon's utility in medium to long-range combat scenarios can be limited, especially when fighting extremely mobile enemies. It is best used at close to mid-ranges. The ball of energy can be dodged by the way of sidestepping at medium to long range. The cannon deals damage similar to a rocket launcher. Its rounds travel at a speed similar to the Redemption. Unlike rocket launchers, however, the cannon's rounds should be aimed directly at the target, instead of at the ground near the enemy, because it lacks the splash damage of a rocket's explosion. As with the other Iridian weapons, its magazine recharges over time, giving it effectively an infinite number of shots. Only a few shots can be fired continuously before the magazine needs to be recharged, however. Now, my opinion about the Iridian Cannon, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This thing is alright. It is quite a bit of fun, I'm not going to lie about that, but everything about it is slow. The velocity at which the I guess ball of energy travels, that's slow. The fire rate is slow. Just a lot of things about it is slow. It even makes you run slower when you have it equipped. Yeah, it does that. Most of these Iridians actually have that effect where when you have them equipped, it reduces your movement speed. So obviously that can be kind of problematic in certain situations, but as long as you have another weapon out that doesn't slow you down, then yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal because you can just equip that if you need to get to somewhere quick, or if you're getting like shot down by a bunch of guys and you need to get to cover, then yeah, you get what I mean. Anyways, so those are just, you know, some issues that I have with this gun, but let's kind of go over some of the good things. I don't want this video to just be full of problems. There is definitely some good things about this gun. For one, it does quite a bit of damage. Now, I do want to warn you guys that it's not very effective against like some of the bigger enemies like badasses, and you know, there's just some enemy types that it doesn't really do very well against. But if we're talking about groups of small, kind of weaker enemies, like let's say in this case midget psychos or just psychos, or you know, just your standard bandit thugs, this thing does pretty well against. But if we're talking about like bullies or badasses and just kind of the tougher bullet sponge like enemies, this weapon's gonna fall short. But yeah, it does do exceedingly well when we're talking about smaller enemies that are grouped together. I think somewhere in here I get a double kill, and I didn't really mention this, but I did switch over to the heavy gunner comm, and you will notice that I have a fire rate boost. I'm not sure if I have more in the magazine, but I do have, well, I should actually have more in the magazine, but I think I had more in the magazine when I had the sport gunner out, which is what I had out initially. And that just brings me to another problem: recharge rates and the magazine size, both of which aren't that good. The recharge rate is actually fairly decent. I do recommend, you know, if you're gonna use Iridian weapons a lot, then definitely get your Iridian proficiency to max, which the maximum for any of the proficiencies is 50. So yeah, that's something I highly recommend doing if you're, well, an Eridian weapon kind of guy. Then obviously getting that up to max level is key, because I think, if I remember, it increases like recharge rate, the magazine size, damage. I'm not exactly sure what all it increases off the top of my head, but it's something like that. You know, Iridians just aren't that great to begin with. Some of them are good. The Iridian legendaries are, you know, pretty good, but for how rare they are, it just doesn't cut it, I guess. So my whole verdict on this gun, it's alright. It does some damage. It is fun to use, but it has a pretty big list of problems. So yeah, I'm not going to say don't pick it up when you find it. If it's the first time finding this gun, definitely give it a go, see if you like it. But I don't even really say you should use Iridians until you get your proficiency, your Iridian proficiency up to max. But apart from that, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'm out of here. Peace!